No, 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 no.
Tigers. Fight. Mike, it's not even a top 1,000 moment all time.
Okay, Tommy, shut the hell up, man.
Mike! Of course, I'm gonna go with the right answer. It's Ryan Eads of the Baltimore Orioles. He's only wore the number 80 for 8 games. He's only one of 2 players.
You know what? No, I'm not going to take this.
Welcome back to Go Chat. We are here with episode 102. We are back with the normal episode. Unfortunately, Connor couldn't make it today, but we still got Tommy. We still got Matt. We still got a great episode planned. We're talking some baseball. So if you love some baseball, stick around for that. We're going to be talking about the wildcard races, some divisional races. It's starting to get tight and coming down to the wire. So make sure to stick around for that. As always, hit that subscribe button if you enjoy watching these videos, or if you enjoy listening to our podcast. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, wherever we are. We are everywhere. Follow us on your favorite social media platform. But as always, we only have 2 numbers left. We're able to swing back around because we did not do the GOAT of the number 0 and the GOAT of the number 1. So we're going to start off with the GOAT of the number 0. And I will swing it to you first, Matt. Who do you think is the GOAT of the number 0?
I think that this one, I thought looking this up and knowing it was pretty easy. I'm going to go with triple-double king Russell Westbrook. I mean, how can I not go with a terrific player like that? Starting his career out in Oklahoma City, with short stint at Houston, short stint at Washington, now going to LA. Hopefully he can actually win a title, because this is a guy that you want to see win a title. So really close to it. We actually, me and my roommates were talking about this yesterday. Like, what if the Thunder actually beat the Warriors and moved on to play the Cavaliers in the finals? Imagine that with Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant. Maybe Kevin Durant would have not went to the Golden State Warriors, but still really hope this guy can get a ring this upcoming season. He's a 9-time All-Star, 2-time scoring champ, 3-time assist champ, 9-time All-NBA. And we think about what he's been able to do. Triple doubles. I mean, the amount of triple doubles he has in the NBA is absolutely ridiculous, and he is just such a talented player who hopefully can shine. Can see himself in the finals shining pretty brightly over there in LA.
Yep. Great pick there, Matt. Tommy, who do you got?
I think I got to go with Russell Westbrook as well. You know, there are some good choices for this, actually. And, you know, more basketball, I think, are the guys that wore 0. But obviously, Matt talked about it. He's put together an incredible career, one of the most dynamic players in the NBA. He has been for a long time. And, we're number 0 for a long time. And, you know, like you said, 9-time All-Star, 2-time scoring champ. 9-time All-NBA, 2-time All-Star Game MVP, 1 MVP. And, you know, he's just outstanding. So we got to give it to Russell Westbrook today.
Yeah, I got to agree with you guys here. Russell Westbrook, one of my favorite players of all time. I mean, what he does in the court, no one else in NBA history has been able to do. Really, the only other person that has averaged a triple-double in a season is Oscar Robertson. I think he only did it for 1 season. Russell Westbrook has done it 4 times in his career, 3 times in a row, from 2016 to 2019. And he missed out on it in Houston, but back in Washington, when he was actually wearing the number 4, not the number 0, he averaged another triple-double. You know, I'd love to see him win a championship. I just wish it wasn't with LeBron and the Lakers, but it's 100% Russ for me, one of my favorite players, and honestly, I feel like he gets a little too much hate.
Is he returning? I think he's returning to number 0 right now.
Yeah, he's gonna be 0 in LA. The 4, I mean, it was like fine, but like the 0 is definitely the iconic Russell Westbrook number. But other number 0s that give a shout out to Robert Parrish, center for the Celtics during the run they had in the 80s. And also Gilbert Arenas, who's another Washington Wizard. I'm not sure if the Wizards retired his number, if that's why Russell Westbrook wasn't able to wear number 0 in Washington. But those are 2 other players. But really, none of them stand up to what Russell Westbrook has accomplished.
They did not retire his number, no. I mean, maybe he didn't want to wear the number 0 because of Gilbert Arenas, but still,
Yeah.
I mean, even Damian Lillard is a fantastic player
Yeah.
wearing the number 0 currently. So, and then including like 00 that we've seen Jim Otto over in the NFL playing for the Vegas Raiders. But no, there's a lot of great athletes. It's just Russell Westbrook is such a dynamic player, and he's really one that everyone loves to watch in the NBA currently. And you know, back when he came into the league, I want to say in 2008, somewhere around there.
Yep. Well, it seems we go the number 0 wrapped up, and we're gonna get in some baseball talk right now.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Go Chat. We have a baseball segment here for you, which is exciting. We don't cover baseball quite as often as I'd like, but we get in there a good bit. So, right now, obviously very exciting wild card race, both in the American League and the National League. I'd say that the American League is a little bit closer, but some good teams in the NL as well. And, really tight race for both of them. So, I'll start with the National League. Obviously, the Giants and the Dodgers have already clinched playoff spots, but the Dodgers are right there in striking distance, and the Padres, they have fallen out of the wild card, but they're right there as well, only half a game out. St. Louis in the mix, Philadelphia only 2.5 out, I believe. So, I'll start with you, Mike. What do you think about the NL race?
Well, the NL race, I mean, both these races, these are going to be two of the most exciting races we've seen in a long, long time for baseball, just given the amount of teams that we have competing for a spot for that last wild card. You just look at the NL, you have, 4 teams within 3 games for that wild card. I mean, San Diego, we know how explosive they are with Tatis and Machado and that pitching staff. I mean, and then St. Louis, who's gotten hot. They just swept the Mets. So, I mean, that's not very difficult right now, but they still did it. And then they took that second wild card spot. So it's really going to be a dogfight for that last wild card. If I had to pick a team, I think it would be San Diego, just because I trust in their stars more. I still trust in Joe Musgrove. Maybe not Yu Darvish, but the rest of that pitching staff isn't half bad as long as they, can get games off of the top dogs in the NL West, like the Giants and the Dodgers. Just fend them off and then, feast on the teams that are not doing as well as, the Dodgers and the Giants. I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, no, I think you make a lot of good points. What do you think, Matt?
I mean, I think Mike nailed it right on the head. I mean, I was going to say that the Padres were going to sneak in there with the wild card spot over St. Louis just because the amount of star power that they have and how you could trust them, like Mike said. I understand that their pitching staff it's been a little iffy with Yu Darvish and Blake Snell just went on the 10-day IL. But I still want to put my trust in them. So if I had to pick a team to go to that wild card spot alongside either the Dodgers or the Giants, I would have to say it would be the Padres. I tooted their horn a little while back, maybe about 6 months, 4 or 5 months back, about their whole pitching staff and how I thought they're going to be great. Didn't really pan out for what I thought they would do. Obviously, the Giants have really been sneaky this season. Nothing that we really thought, but regardless, I think that they should be able to get that NL wildcard spot. As for the AL East, the NL East, it's all about who gets hot. I mean, that's what the game of baseball is. To what I've at least seen is when teams get on streaks, that's when it really starts. And this is the time when you really need to get on a streak, whether it be is the Braves or the Phillies. I'm not sure if the Mets are really going to get on a streak and make it to the playoffs. But I mean, it depends on those two teams. And same thing with the Dodgers Giants race. It's whoever ends the hottest is going to be that number 1, or the number 1 seed, actually, that would be in the NL. So that's my thoughts on the NL. Both great races in the NL and the AL. It's going to be a really great rest of the season until October 5th, which is the start of the postseason.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there, Matt. I think you make a lot of good points too. I think, I mean, this will be interesting for sure in the NL West to see who wins the division. And it is down to those two teams officially now. The Padres have been eliminated from division contention, and they've underperformed. But like you said, they have a lot of star power there with Tatis and Machado. Obviously, they can make things happen. But Tatis, he's been banged up this year. They've moved him to the outfield from shortstop, and things haven't gone the way they wanted. But I do agree with you. I still have faith that they're going to sneak into the wild card. I think St. Louis is a good team, but like you take a look at their pitching, and it's a lot of older guys: John Lester, Jay Happ, and
Wainwright.
I just don't really think those
Wainwright's
guys.
been balling though. Don't get it mistaken.
I
Wainwright
know.
has been on a different level.
Yeah, no, he's been great, but I mean, you take a look at him even, and it's all these veteran guys, and are they going to be able to carry them through the postseason and even just to get into the postseason? Personally, I don't think so. I think that the Padres will be just fine, but the Phillies too, only 2.5 back, and they're an interesting team with all the stars they have. Some of them past their prime, but just in the lineup itself. I mean, you got Bryce Harper, you got Andrew McCutchen, former MVP. Obviously, at short, Didi Gregorius, and then you have one of my favorites, of course. But Reese Hoskins and Alec Bohm. What'd you say, Matt?
JT, is he still healthy?
JT, of course, one of the best catchers in the game. So I like that team, and I think Joe Girardi's a great manager. So. I think they have a chance to sneak in, but ultimately I would have to agree. I think the Padres are, the best team out of this group. And, I think that's good for baseball too, if it ends up being a Dodgers, Padres wild card game. I mean, we've seen so many great battles this whole year. So to have a wild card game between those two teams, I think would be just great. And, but we'll have to see what happens. But, yeah, I mean, do we want to swing it over to the AL now?
Well, one thing I want to point out for the NL wildcard race,
Yeah.
the Padres and the Cardinals have a 3-game series coming up.
Yeah.
It's starting today, so we're recording this on Friday, but starting September 17th, and that's going to be massive, massive, massive for the NL wildcard race, just like the Cardinals Mets series was this past weekend. So, I mean, that pretty much bumped the Mets out of any sort of playoff contention. They really need a miracle to get into the playoffs at this point. But this series, it's actually in St. Louis, so it's going to be huge for both teams, and I'm excited to see what happens.
I mean, now that I'm looking, because I was curious, so I decided to look at both their schedules. The Padres are playing, like you said, the Cardinals. Then they're going to play the Giants. Then they're playing the Braves and the Dodgers. Then back to the Giants for 3 games.
Yeah,
that's a little difficult. And the Cardinals are doing the Brewers, Cubs, back to the Brewers, and then back to the Cubs. So that's kind of like a split. The Brewers are really good, and then the Cubs is kind of struggling. So it'll be interesting to see. I didn't even think about looking at the schedules beforehand.
Yep. But Tommy, why don't you swing us over to the American League?
Yeah, I think the American League race will be, incredible to watch this whole way. And, obviously I'm very interested in it as a Yankees fan. And, some big series coming up. You were talking about the schedules in the NL. To me, what's going to decide it is the Yankees' upcoming schedule, which, they play Cleveland this weekend. Then who is it? Texas after that. And then this is what's going to decide it. They're going to play the Blue Jays, or no, I'm sorry. It's the Red Sox in Boston, then the Blue Jays in Toronto, and then 3 against Tampa at home, which is going to be, that's really going to decide it to me, whether the Yankees will get in or not. And you take a look at the Red Sox schedule. I mean, that's very easy for them. They're going to play Baltimore twice, and they're going to play the Mets. Sorry about that, Mike. But, the Mets could, give them a run, but I think that Boston's going to play well the rest of the way. And, of course, as I mentioned, they play the Yankees as well. But aside from that series, it's pretty easy for Boston, which, that's going to be very important as we come down the stretch here. And then, Toronto does have some big games. They play Minnesota this weekend, and they play Tampa in Tampa. Then they play Minnesota again, and then the Yankees, of course. But it'll be exciting, and I think it's good for baseball. And sorry, not to mention, Toronto does finish the season playing Baltimore, which if they need 3 wins, they could easily get them right there. We saw what they were able to do this past weekend, beating them by 10+ runs in multiple games. So, it'll be really exciting. I think this is great for baseball too. Meaningful games down the stretch here, and yeah, looking forward to it for
Oh,
sure. But
Tommy, you got to answer the question.
yes,
Who do you think? Who do you think's gonna be in the wild card? I know you're kind of going on rambles how Toronto and
He's
Boston have
dancing
easy
on the
schedules.
question.
yeah. Well,
Yankees don't have easy schedules, so are you still gonna say the Yankees are gonna make the wild card?
I think they'll find a way, but see, it's tough for me to answer that. Being objective, I feel like it could easily be a Blue Jays Red Sox wild card game, and just because the Yankees haven't played well, against Boston, or well, they have had some success against Boston, but Toronto they've struggled with, and especially with those games in Toronto, I think that'll be difficult, and on the road against Boston as well, obviously a hostile environment to play in, so that'll be big. And then to finish the season against Tampa, to me, that's really important how you're going to finish the season, who you're playing against. And if the Yankees need a couple wins, to play Tampa is really tough. And then on the other side of the coin, Toronto, very easy, playing one of the worst teams in the entire league. And then Boston finishes against your team, Matt, the Nationals. And, nothing against them, but they're having a tough year. I mean, if it comes down to that final weekend, I don't feel as good about the Yankees. So I know I didn't really answer the question, but it's going to come down to those 3 series. I think it could easily be, Red Sox, Blue Jays, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised if the Yankees found a way. And you know what? I think they will find a way. I think that Aaron Judge comes up in big games and he's going to carry them, but we'll have to see.
You don't think they're going to find a way. I think, Tommy, deep down inside, you answered the question by saying Toronto and Boston is probably going to be the final.
But it's so close, though. That's the thing.
It is.
I wouldn't be surprised. It's just I'm trying to be a little more objective, and I feel like with the way the schedules play out. But that's the thing that makes no sense about the Yankees, right? They can struggle like they have been, and then they can come out and they can beat the best team in the league, in a blowout. And it's like you don't know what team's going to show up every day. And, are they going to be the team that went on a 13-game win streak? They could be. I don't know. So we'll see.
I mean, the schedule for the Yankees, right? That series against the Blue Jays and the Red Sox are going to be absolutely critical. They're going to need at least 2 in both of those series, if not all 3. You know what I mean? Because if you only get 2, you only gain a game. If you get all 3, you obviously gain 3 games, and boom, you're in the wild card with a padded lead. But it's gonna be really hard for the Yankees to get in. And I mean, you look at other teams in the wild card race. I mean, the Mariners, kind of a surprise team this season. They are only a few games out. I think they are 3 or 4, if I'm not mistaken, and the A's are right there as well. So, who knows? Maybe one of those teams goes on a streak while the Yankees and Red Sox continue to split games, or the Blue Jays and Yankees continue to split games. So I think it could be any combination of those 5 teams. But honestly, I think it's going to be Toronto, Boston, just because what you said, Tommy, that the schedules are just too easy for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing about the A's and the Mariners do play each other, I think, in 2 different series. So if one of those teams had to, so one of those teams would have to sweep, and I would think, right, they'd have to sweep both of those matchups.
Well, maybe not both. Maybe that one of them wins 4 out of 6 or something like that, or I'm not sure, but
It would have to be sided towards one team.
Yeah.
They couldn't be splitting that, but
Yeah.
Tommy, it's difficult for the Yankees. I'm not gonna lie. I'm trying to figure out a way that the Yankees would be able to make it. And of course, they're the Yankees. They go on these incredible runs.
Yeah.
But just looking at the schedule, it's so hard to say that the Yankees are gonna make it.
It is. And, I mean, I think they easily could, but with the way that they've been so inconsistent, I feel like it's going to be difficult. But, you're right about the A's and the Mariners. They do have a chance, but I think with the Mariners in particular, they're a really good young team that they're going to be around for a while. And, they could sneak in, but I think that they're just going to fall short. And, we're talking about who's going to get in, but to just talk about them for a minute, they should be very happy with the way that their rebuild has gone. I mean, they've really turned it around pretty quick. And, to be in the race like this, I think is an accomplishment in itself. So, they should be happy and they'll be back. I think we'll be talking about them next year, potentially getting a spot here. But I think that it's ultimately going to come down to the three teams we talked about: New York, Boston, and Toronto.
I mean, this whole year I've been asking the same question. How the heck are the Mariners in contention for a playoff spot? Because they really don't have too much talent on their team. They're just super young. They just find a way to grind out games, and they're learning how to become a winning team in the MLB. Their pitching is pretty solid, and their lineup shows up when it needs to show up. And that's the difference between winning and losing in baseball. You don't necessarily need to be the best team every day because of how long the season is. You just got, go out there, give it your best every day, and then just find out a way to grind wins. And the teams that are not in playoff contention right now, like the Mets, just failed to do that. So shout out to the Mariners for that, and really over exceeding everyone's expectations this year.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be really interesting for the AL. I'm trying to wrap my whole head around this. Trying to figure out. The Yankees always find a way to. I feel like they always find a way to get into the playoffs somehow. So they quite possibly could. That I would just looking at Boston and Toronto's schedules and kind of thinking that I feel like Toronto would be the one to get out if the Yankees found a way in, because Toronto has a much better, well, not better, but like much harder schedule with playing the Rays and the Yankees. So if the Yankees can take advantage of that, and then Boston, they're playing the Orioles. We talked about it, the Orioles, the Nationals, not too good at teams, but I think Toronto and Boston are going to finish in the wild card. Yeah. I can't really say the Yankees will.
I mean, sorry, go ahead, Matt.
I was just going to note that, like Tommy pointed out, that the winner of or the final spot in that wild card, San Diego, or if it's San Diego, they would be playing San Francisco or the Dodgers. Same thing over here. If it's Toronto, Boston, or New York in that last spot, they're playing Tampa Bay, which is really good for baseball, and just it's interesting. Going to be an interesting matchup to watch.
100%. And just going back to your point about the Blue Jays, they do have the tougher schedule out of the two between Boston and Toronto, but they have been so hot. They've won 8 of their last 10. They've been absolutely clobbering the baseball. Tommy mentioned how they beat the Orioles by 10 runs or more in their last series with them. I mean, it's going to be very hard for them to drop out unless they take like a sudden drop off similar to what the Yankees did after they went on their massive win streak. But that's just so uncommon in baseball. But we'll see. It's definitely going to come down to the wire, and I'm excited to watch.
Yeah, I mean, not to beat this topic into the ground, but they did beat the Rays twice in their last 3-game series with them. So yeah, we're just gonna have to see. It's baseball. You never know what's going to happen. But any final thoughts on the season coming to an end soon? We're just under a month.
It's sad it's coming to an end, but I think the American League East is the biggest surprise of the year. I never really expected Boston and Toronto to be in it, and I guess in some ways you could say the NL East is the biggest surprise, because that was expected to be the strongest division. And it hasn't been what people expected, but I think that like I said, awesome for baseball to have the AL East playing as well as they are, and really, Baltimore is the only team right now in that division that's not in contention. So, that's been a big surprise, but it's been a great year. I mean, it's been fun to watch, and sad to see it coming to an end, but excited for the postseason as always. Love to watch that.
I mean, shout out to the Diamondbacks. They might get their 100th loss tonight. So good for them. I mean,
At least Tim
Yeah,
McCaskey wasn't there for all of it, though. He didn't have to suffer through it. But
yeah, and then the Giants and the Dodgers 5 and 6 games away from 100. Yeah.
Well, the
Season's-
Orioles also have a shot to get their 100th loss tonight. So
Oh, I
that's also,
didn't realize that. Wow.
that's also pretty exciting.
Oh, they're playing the Red Sox too. So
yeah,
the Red Sox. The Red Sox can hand them a 100th loss, or who are the Diamondbacks playing? Just looked at it. Or the Astros can hand the Diamondbacks. Tommy's two favorite teams, the Red Sox and the Astros. So
Oh, man. I think those both might happen tonight. Those are pretty tough matchups, but
Yeah.
we'll see. Those teams will turn it around, though.
Yep. All right. Well, this seems to wrap up our wild card preview / prediction / race breakdown. But we got GOAT picks coming up. We finally have GOAT picks back on the air. We got our schedule back going. So, Tommy, he's making a push. He's
Hey,
making a
never
push for the crown, and I'm getting scared. But anyways, we're going to get right into that topic right now.
welcome back to Go Chat. We are back finally with the GOAT picks. The last time I think we picked this might have been like 4 months ago when we were back at college. I have really no clue.
I don't know why we stopped doing it on air, but it just didn't. Oh, well, Tommy wasn't on air, so that was part of the reason. But we're back finally. We are back.
And if you guys don't remember how this goes, we kind of just go in order how the standing is. So we'll look at the standings first. Mike and Tommy are tied for first. Mike's been in first for a little while. Connor was previously in first.
I've only been in first for maybe
Like
like a week or two after I overtook Connor, but now Tommy's gained a lot of ground.
He has gained a lot of ground. And he's coming in handy with his baseball knowledge. He's finally getting at us. But we have 4 great games. Of course, this is our football slate of games with week 2 starting this. Well, it started yesterday, but it's week 2 of Sunday starting this Sunday. By the way, for a great first week, 100%. But we got to get through this. We got Penn State versus Auburn. Mike, I'm going to throw it to you first.
I'm going Penn State. I think that they're the more complete team, even though Bo Nix, he's been playing great for Auburn. I got to go with Penn State here, especially because they're at home as well.
Tommy?
Gotta love the home team. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Penn State too. I mean, they're 2-0 on the year, ranked 10th in the nation against Auburn at 22, and they've played well. So I gotta go with Penn State.
I'm going to go with Penn State. I don't really feel comfortable going against you guys in this matchup. I do think Auburn quite possibly could win it, but I'm going to stick with Penn State. San Francisco versus Philly. This game's at 1 at Sunday. Both 1-0 teams, Mike.
Just curious, who'd Connor pick? I missed it.
Oh, he picked Penn State. Forgot to say that.
So we all picked Penn State?
Yes, I'll say Connor's before mine. I just
All right. I'm going with the 49ers in this game.
Tommy?
Yeah, I gotta go with San Francisco.
Connor picked Philly, and I'm going to agree with him. I love what Jalen Hurts did against Atlanta, and San Francisco started a blow lead in the second half.
I was really shocked with either how good the Eagles were or how bad the Falcons were. It's one or the other, and we're going to find out this week.
We are going to find out. Just keeping with the NFC East, we got Dallas going up against Los Angeles Chargers. The game's at 4:25. Mike?
Unfortunately, I got to go with the Chargers. Randy Gregory and DeMarcus Lawrence being out for the Cowboys. Absolutely massive blow. And Lyle Collins, with his drug suspension, even though he had 100, I'm not going to get into it, but I'm going with the Chargers in this one. It's going to be a high-scoring game.
Tommy?
Yeah, I keep going with Mike today, and I'm gonna have to go with the Chargers here. I'd have to agree with you. I mean, as much as I'd like to pick your Cowboys, I'm gonna have to go the other way.
Much as I like to pick my Cowboys, I agree with you, Tommy.
Connor did pick the Chargers. I'm going to agree with him there. I love the Chargers this year. Last game, Kansas City, Baltimore. This is a Sunday night game, prime time. We got Patty Mahomes going up against Lamar Jackson, two big names in the NFL. Mike?
I'm going with the Chiefs. The Ravens are just similar to the Cowboys, just battered with injuries. Chris Westry out for this game, and Ronnie Stanley is looking like he might miss the game as well. So their tackles are looking very, very thin, along with their corners. I mean, just so battered. So I got to go with the Chiefs.
Tommy?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to roll with Kansas City. I mean, there's very few times when I think I picked against them on here. They're, with Patrick Mahomes, I always feel confident with them. So we're gonna roll with Kansas City.
I'm going to go with Kansas City. I'd like to go with Baltimore, but I just still don't feel comfortable. I got to make moves sometime. So
Who'd Connor pick?
Connor picked Kansas City.
Oh, honestly, I would have went if I was in your position. I would have went with the Cowboys just because I still think they have a shot against the Chargers because they're going to be unstoppable on offense. But I don't know. You're just not making up any ground. I can tell you.
All right, I have my own. I have a way. I made up ground.
You have a strategy. You honestly always find a way. You're always within like a couple games.
I find a way to get second. I've been in second for the past like 2 in a row. So I'm kind of like the Packers and the Yankees here, just not making it to the final, not winning the thing. But we do have Go to the Week coming up next. So stay tuned for that. We haven't done Go to the Week in a while too. So might as well just get back into the swing of things. Go to the Week coming up next. Welcome back to the Go of the Week. We're finally doing this again. It's been a while here. We look at the leaderboard. I don't even remember really what the leaderboard looks like, but I'm pretty sure I have 24 wins. I'm still in the lead. Shocker there. But we're going to start with you, Mike. Who is your Go to the Week?
My Go of the Week, honestly, I should have changed it because I picked it at the beginning of the week, and the Mets just absolutely blew chunks this week. But it has to be Francisco Lindor. That performance against the Yankees in Game 3 of the Subway Series will go down in infamy. It is probably going to be one of the most iconic moments in his career, next to him winning a championship for the New York Mets in the very, very near future. Anyways, in this game against the New York Yankees, hit not one, not two, but 3 home runs after Stanton pimped one and started talking some smack to him and Baez about like Lindor whistling earlier in the game because like some other controversy. But Lindor showed up big time for this game, put on a virtuoso of a performance, and Lindor's got to be my Go of the Week.
Tommy.
Yeah, I mean, what a moment that was. Obviously a great game there for Lindor. But I'm going to go with Max Scherzer of the Dodgers. Had a big game on Sunday against the San Diego Padres. Obviously, their rival, a team that they're battling against here. And, 8 innings pitched and only gave up 1 hit. Took a perfect game, I believe, into the 7th inning, had 9 strikeouts. And one of those was his 3,000th career strikeout. And, that's pretty similar to 3,000 hits. That pretty much cements you for the Hall of Fame. Not that there was any question there with Max, but, a big milestone, big game for him. So he's my Go of the Week.
Mad Max. I missed that guy. My Go of the Week is Kyler Murray against Tennessee after Arizona literally just manhandled Tennessee 38-13. Kyler Murray, 21 for 32, 289 yards. Throwing 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, passer rating of 121, and then rushing, he also had a touchdown. So grand total of 5 touchdowns. I really thought he was the winner of Sunday, and the loser was definitely Aaron Rodgers, but that is not about the Go of the Week at all. But Kyler Murray is my winner, and I think he would be the Go of the Week. Shout out Carly Lloyd getting like 5 goals yesterday in her debut of her farewell tour, which was fantastic against Paraguay. But yeah, I'm going to go with Kyler here. Mike just lost a battery. Of course, we're being a college student, you're losing battery all the time. So might as well we just wrap up this episode. Tommy, any final thoughts?
I think it was a great episode. I mean, anytime we talk about baseball, you know I love it. So, good episode today, and we'll be back next week, hopefully with everybody on, and it'll be another good one.
Yeah, this is Tommy and Matt chat. Make
That's
sure to
right.
follow us. Make sure to follow us, subscribe. Yeah, like Tommy said, hopefully we'll be back with the four of us next week. And we will definitely have some more ideas as to go to the number is just it's just ending. It's a little sad, but we'll have some better ideas to keep the GOAT GOAT subject to begin the episodes. So we will be back next week.